Hi, this is the Ivy League astrologer with the March 2015 reading for Vedic Aries. The first card out for Vedic Aries is the High Priestess. This looks to me almost like you're being pulled in different directions. Like you have this kind of intuition that's welling up from below, this kind of unexpected thing that's surfacing. That I think for some of you is going to kind of warn you that a situation is going to be cut off, and maybe something that you can't really imagine being cut off. It looks very scythe-like, the moon on this card right now. So I think it's, for some people, it's like telling you that something is going to be cut short and something that is important to you and valuable to you. And that is, I feel like you're kind of trying to figure out a way to work with that, to use kind of your faith and your knowledge in order to kind of make the most of whatever this thing is that is maybe going to run out or something in time. And it seems like that's part of a larger plan, like it has to do that. That's part of what is necessary, but it's not what you want, I think. I think it's I think it's making you sad. I think it's kind of bringing you down a little bit, but I think you need to find a way to make your peace with it, and I think you're struggling to do that and kind of put, in some cases, put the things of the world behind you and focus more strongly on the spiritual world, and then what you need to accomplish here in order to be ready for the spiritual world or something. Yeah, it feels like there's some big changes afoot. And I think that they've already kind of been coming into your consciousness, but maybe you're a bit split in how to deal with them. Like, I think part of you would like to just kind of ignore this new knowledge and kind of head back down a path that you've been down before. Like, you're kind of searching for a way out, but there isn't a way out. It just is. Whatever this kind of cutting off that is happening or that you know is going to happen, it just is. That's the way it is. So the best thing you can do is to kind of prepare yourself for it and kind of cleanse your heart, I think. Kind of allow yourself to be made new, to be ready for this kind of spiritual progression. Yeah, I see a lot of sadness about the things you might be leaving behind or projects that you've worked on that you won't be able to bring to completion, that you won't be able to bring to fulfillment. Yeah, it's just a sense of like something that's been your baby. You're not going to be there to see it all the way into the future somehow. And I think that that is kind of a weight, that's kind of a heaviness. But underneath that sort of passion for whatever this is that is making you feel sad, feel weighted down, that you may not be able to go all the way with it or see it through to, you know, through all its stages or something, that you may have to, because of this cutting off that's going to happen, you may have to let it be in someone else's care, let it go. And I feel like you feel a very rich and deep like blood connection to this thing. So it's difficult to let it go. But underneath that, even though that is powerful and real, underneath that, there is a lightness that's being offered to you and which you can't really refuse. Again, there's a sense of like destiny or something, or just like it's just the way it is, you know, like you don't get to do all the things you thought you were going to do. But it's still okay because it's still part of like a higher plan. So yeah, again, I get a sense of you kind of really trying to let go of the material, or trying to let go of like just piling up money for money's sake, or buying clothes to have them, or like, you know, like that kind of thing. I feel like you are either completely turning that on its head this month, or trying to look at your material values through a different lens. And I think there may be some struggle with this month, and I think it is partly because you don't really want to go all the way into this like spiritual movement that is kind of calling to you. I think you hear it and it's strong and it's real, but it's like you would rather stay in what you've known before, in what you've done before, even if it's not going to advance you, just because you're a little scared of what happens after this kind of opening up to this new spiritual way of seeing things. You're afraid of going there because there's no going back, is kind of how it feels. So I feel like you may just have some internal struggle this month with that, where you're kind of trying to change your spots and moving towards it. And you are inexorably moving towards it, but I think there's part of you that wants to say, hey, can't we put the brakes on this? Can't we go back to how it was before I knew what I know now? And, you can't. But I think you can, so yeah, I think you just may have some moments of struggle with that this month as you do move forward, but it may be kind of a halting movement. But again, there's a higher wisdom that is ordering this, and that is calling you home in a way, and that won't be moved, can't be moved. So there's definitely fear involved with this. There's a lot of fear involved because it's like, it feels like a death in some way. It could be a literal death. I mean, hopefully not, or a death of something, some movement that you care about, something that has been important to you. Because I feel like there's like a grave part of it. And that's why you're struggling against it and not quite wanting to go there. But that's where the knowledge is and where the fruit of your labor is, oddly. It's not in these things that you thought you would get to build and that you thought you would get to go to. It's in this grimmer reality that is actually going to open you up and give you a lot more knowledge about the workings of the universe. It's kind of what I'm seeing there. Give you real fruit, real nourishment, rather than what you can find in kind of earthly ways. And I feel like you don't have a real sense of control about this. This is not something that you're doing. It's something that is kind of happening to you. Like, yeah, you're really, a lot of stuff about faith. Being asked to step out on faith, and you're kind of being pushed out on faith, even though you're not really like entirely willingly taking that step. It's opening up underneath you, where you go, oh, okay, all of a sudden this ground that I thought was firm turns out to be still supporting me, but it's made of something completely different than I thought. There's definitely a lot about spirituality rising, about being filled up with a kind of faith and knowing. There's just like a kind of knowing that you are suddenly imbued with this month, that is leading you to act in ways that will be productive in relation to this kind of revelation or whatever. Sorry, it's very esoteric at the moment, but that's what I'm seeing. It's a lot about spiritual movement and about being told something kind of from beyond, you know? Like you're getting this either glimpse into the future, glimpse of what your purpose is here on Earth, like this glimpse of what's beyond the present in a very strong way that is also unsettling and disconcerting, but also allows you to order your life in a different way. I think that's a big part of it. You can, with this knowledge, which you're a little afraid to even really look at, but you can't really ignore, it allows you to order your life in a different way so that you can kind of get to the promised land or just get to where you're going in a whole way. And again, I feel like you might be trying to run away from this month, but it's undeniable. And I think it might also feel like a defeat. You know, it may feel like you've been working towards all this stuff and you thought you were going to win it. You thought you were going to be like, you thought you were going to get all the things, like after all this hard work, you thought you were going to like get the stuff you've been waiting for and kind of ride off into the sunset and be like, yeah, awesome, I did that hard work and it was totally worth it. But instead it feels like I did all this work and now you're saying I don't even get to enjoy it? Really? Like, how can that be right? And it really feels like somebody else is getting your reward. Yeah, it feels like you're being kind of turned away from this thing that you really want and that you have worked for, that you feel like you deserve. But I think this whole like kind of spiritual plan that is being revealed to you is this is encompassed in it, this kind of failure or feeling of failure. It's like you're not really losing, but it feels like you are right now. Yeah, I think it feels like your reward is kind of being plucked out of your hands by someone else. And that is really painful. I think it gets you right where you live. Whoever this other person is who's taking your thing or whatever, who's getting this thing that you worked for, I think that it's a person in particular, that it particularly hurts you that this person or this organization or this entity is taking this away from you. Yeah, maybe because you had a feeling about it before that you kind of ignored or pushed aside. Or maybe you just think this person is shifty. Maybe it's just like kind of this is the last person that I would want. Like, I want it anyway, but if somebody else has to have it, this is the last person I would want to have it. But I don't think it's all that well starred for this person who's taking your thing, you know. I feel like it hurts you a lot, but I also think that this thing that's being taken away from you or whatever, like, I think you will, that part of you will know, although it may be hard to really live in that sense all the time this month. I think part of you will know that this is happening for a reason. This is part of the higher plan. It's just a painful part of it. But yeah, I feel like there could be a triangle dynamic. Yeah, triangle dynamic is strong here. There could be a triangle dynamic between you and this other person or other business or whatever and this third person where this thing that you want is taken away from you. But it's not, you know, it's not the right thing. Like, there's a pause that's being put on your attaining this goal. And it is going to someone else, but that's not going to work out for them. It's going to lead to a renewal or like a refreshment of the people involved that are not you, but it's not going to lead to like a long future or anything. And I feel like this opportunity, this thing, is going to come back to you. Maybe when some of this burden has been lifted. Because that's where it belongs. Because it's yours is why, you know. It's because that's where it belongs. It's like this thing, I think I said this for Taurus a couple months ago too, but it's like this feeling of this thing that you want going further away from you instead of closer to you. And then, but it's really just part of the process of it returning to you. And I think that, you know, I don't know if it will return this month. But I feel like there will be cause for celebration for you eventually over this thing that you're hurting over right now. I think that the spiritual, so this first row here is all about a spiritual awakening. And then the second row here is all about this thing that you have worked hard for being taken away from you, and going to someone else. And it's going to someone else because it's a weird combination of things, actually. So it's like the Devil card and the Ace of Cups. So it's going to someone else, not in a healthy way, not in a way that can be supported, but somehow that is still going to renew them and this other person. It's like a renewal that needs to happen, but it's short-lived. And it needs to happen in order for this thing to return to you. Because, yeah, that's where it belongs, but it needs to go away before it can come back. So, yeah, but I do see you being happy about this and being satisfied with the way it turns out. And maybe later, even in the fall, that this really comes to fruit. Yeah, I think you may be faking, and you may have to be around these people. If it's a person that's going away from you and is with someone else, you may have to be around those people and kind of fake that you're okay with it towards the end of the month. But I think that I think it is in your best interest to wear a happy face, even if it is a mask, and to toast their union, to celebrate, you know, as far as you can, to celebrate and be like, okay, well, that's great. I'm happy for you guys, you know, and just kind of just keep going with it and just wait on it. Because I think that this thing is going to come back around to you, but it just is going to take some time. But yeah, I think it's not going to do you any favors to like be overly emotional about it in public, or to like kind of beseech any parties to be like, just give me another chance, or how could you do this to me? I think you really are going to be best served by just faking it till you make it, you know, like just being happy or being as like positive as you can be, and then excusing yourself if you can't be, you know. But I don't think that letting people know how painful this is for you is going to be productive. Yeah, I really think you need to wear the mask of happiness. Because right now, it's not going to do anything for you to not do that. You know, it's not going to be productive for you to not do that. So get in, get out, be like, hey, great, okay, and then go home and cry if you need to. But it seems like, yeah, you kind of just have to go with it for now. And it seems like this thing that's going away from you is going to come back to you eventually. But again, maybe not till like the fall. And yeah, and I think it's really for you right now, I think it's about this kind of spiritual awakening and trying to figure out how to live with that, how to like order your life to respect that and honor that, and not kind of fall back into the darkness of ignoring it, because I don't think that is wise. I think you need to move on whatever kind of spiritual openings there are this month. So, okay, thanks very much for watching. Hope that's helpful. Please get in touch if you want a personal reading. My information is below. Thanks. Bye.